And so we move on to the topic that pisses everybody with kids off. Did you know that when you're sleep deprived, your body pumps out increased amounts of the hormone ghrelin, along with many others? But ghrelin specifically increases your appetite, it increases your cravings, and it increases the likelihood of fat storage. Did you know that being sleep deprived inhibits the activity of your frontal lobe, which is in charge of your inhibitory behavior? Read, I deserve to eat this whole carton of ice cream. Frontal lobe says, maybe don't. Did you know that dieters who deprived themselves of sleep lost 55% less weight than when they got adequate sleep, even though calories were the same? No? You didn't know? Now you do. Lack of sleep makes you tired. Being tired makes you hungry, which leaves you less likely to make good choices about food. 2/3 of Americans are sleep deprived. 2/3 of Americans are overweight or obese. Coincidence? Sleep is imperative. I'm talking necessary sleep is 8 to 10 hours a night. Hep, hep, hep. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear the buts. 8 to 10 hours. That's the facts. Do what you can, but arguing won't change what's necessary. Interestingly, though perhaps unsurprisingly, people who get too little sleep are more likely to be overweight. And to a lesser extent, though, so are people who get too much sleep. Again, as with the studies that were looking at things like thermogenesis, I'm going to have to ask what other lifestyle factors were involved. Like, what are these people eating? Because someone who frequents the McDonald's drive-thru and sleeps 12 hours a day, like, not surprised, you're fat. Could someone please get me a sleep study on long-term, whole food, high-carb, plant-based vegans? Anybody. Nobody wants to pay for it. You can't patent sleep. But even without specific studies cataloging the sleep habits of whole food, plant-based vegans, there's still a ton of information explaining why sleep is essential for weight loss. One study actually kept participants in a residential facility so that they could control and monitor their sleep and eating habits. And that study found that during 5 days of moderately insufficient sleep, which would be normal in, say, like a 5-day work week, voluntary caloric intake increased on days following sleep deprivation. And the caloric overindulgence did lead to weight gain, mostly in the female participants. The good news is that during the sleep recovery time, where nightly rest was sufficient, caloric intake naturally returned to normal and a slight unintentional weight loss was achieved. Though I will note the sleep recovery time was longer than a weekend is. And very interestingly, oral intake of glucose and fiber have been shown to almost immediately decrease ghrelin levels. So, whole plant foods regulate appetite and induce satiety. Thanks for the news flash. But it would be completely unrealistic to believe that it's just ghrelin that's affected by sleep deprivation. The classic stress hormone cortisol is also extremely sensitive to sleep deprivation, especially if we don't get enough short-wave sleep, which is the part of the sleep cycle where growth hormone is released, stress hormones are suppressed, and other metabolism-regulating hormones are modulated. And if we don't get good, restful sleep, then our stress hormone-producing glands are heavily taxed. The adrenal glands taking the hardest hit. Your adrenals need rest. They need rejuvenation, or they will slowly peter out until they are unable to function. And they will take the rest of your endocrine system with them. And since there is no such thing as an isolated hormonal upset, please rest assured that higher cortisol levels and adrenal underfunctioning create a domino effect that shifts everything else in your body. Perhaps the most concerning for weight loss is the dysregulation of insulin, which I think has been sufficiently publicly demonized by this point, that we all know that more insulin equals more fat storage. And there's simply no replacement for sleep. Caffeine is bullshit. It'll force your adrenal glands to wring themselves dry until they just poof, stop working altogether. Adrenal support supplements? What a joke. They are essentially always not adrenal support, they are adrenal stimulants that push your adrenals even further, which makes you feel good for a little while, but then drains your adrenal function and your wallet even more. You cannot outsmart, circumvent, or manipulate the necessary requirements of your body. You gotta eat the right food. You have to drink enough water. You have to move your body. And you absolutely have to rest and sleep enough. There's no cheating without consequence. But what if you can't sleep? Yes, I had a premonitory feeling that there were hordes of people scrolling down to the comments section. Funny fact, if you've abused your adrenals to the point of exhaustion, if you're incredibly stressed and overstimulated, or if you aren't eating sufficient carbohydrate calories during the day, you will feel exhausted to the point of collapse for your entire day. Until you lay your precious little head down on that pillow, and then, boom, you're wide awake for hours. I was stuck in this cycle for months. It was so infuriating. And I kept finding solutions like try herbal supplements, use melatonin, create a bedtime routine. And do you know what I did? I acted like a petulant child and kept abusing the word but. Yeah, I would do that, but I actually have a job. I have to make money. I don't have time to coddle myself for an hour before bed. It's not like it's gonna work anyway. Asshole. After much review of my behavior, I realized that on some level, like all of them, I was purposefully sabotaging myself. Partially because I was scared of the pickle I would be if none of these suggestions worked. I spent all of this time being proactive and nice to myself instead of wallowing in self-loathing and helplessness, and nothing happened. Partially, I didn't want to change what I was doing. During my initial healing phases from binging and purging, my nightly routine was to watch movies as a way to relax and keep my furiously anxious mind from ripping my own sense of self-esteem to shreds. And if I turned off that movie too early, I was afraid I would get sucked back into that cycle of fearing the future and viciously shaming myself for my past. And the final part of my apathy was that I wanted to make myself sick. I wanted to make myself pathetic, and I wanted to make myself so helpless that someone would take it upon themselves to come rescue me. Nobody came to my rescue. At least no one who was actually competent enough to rescue me. But that is another conversation entirely. So if you can't sleep, just FYI, you're going to have to be proactive. Stop using the introductory phrase, yeah, but I can't because, and make the positive changes happen. Nobody's gonna do it for you. Otherwise, you're just gonna be up all night watching my videos. Yay, more views! No, I don't want your midnight insomnia views. A bedtime routine is absolutely necessary. It should take at least an hour. And this is the routine that worked for me. Turn off the motherfucking TV. Turn off your phone. I don't want to see that iPad within 20 feet of the bed unless it's playing soothing wooden flute music. I boil some water, I brew some herbal tea, I let that set. I floss my teeth, brush my teeth, I take a nice warm, relaxing shower, change into my most snuggly PJs, turn on a dim, warm lamp, I rub lavender oil on the bottom of my tootsies, and then I get into bed, where I read soothing poetry by Mary Oliver and cradle a warm mason jar full of herbal tea, taking dignified sips periodically. Once my little eyelids feel heavy, I slide under the comforter. I produce the most deeply contented sigh you can imagine. Fake it until you make it. And then I sleep. I also recommend restorative yoga before bed, because soothing music, a yoga bolster, pillows, and a warm blanket is kind of an equation that will put anyone to sleep. You need to sleep in a pitch black room. Get curtains, buy a new alarm clock that doesn't glow, sleep in the closet. Do whatever you have to. Sleep in a pitch black room. Locate the closest source of caffeine. avoid it like the plague. If you have any adrenal exhaustion issues and trouble sleeping, do not consume caffeine or any other stimulants. No coffee, no green tea, no white tea, no matcha, no cacao, no decaf coffee. It's going to dig you deeper into exhaustion. Herbal supplements for sleep usually work pretty well. I like to take my herbals in the form of tea, chamomile and lavender being my favorite blend. But make sure that it is absolutely herbal tea, i.e. no caffeine. There are also some great traditional Chinese medicine blends for sleep and relaxation, and those used to knock me out pretty effectively when I needed them. I got these blends from my acupuncturist, and she also gave me acupuncture treatments to encourage restful sleep, which was very effective. Also, in a previous video, I did mention short-term melatonin use. I recommend using melatonin only for a few weeks maximum, and use it in conjunction with your bedtime routine, herbal supplements, sleeping in a pitch black room, and other relaxation. Using the melatonin can help you get enough sleep for your adrenal glands to recover adequately to be able to stop with the insomnia bullshit. But, as we all know, melatonin is a hormone, and as such, it should not be a regular supplement. Also, I do find it helpful to keep a little notepad next to the bed, so while I'm falling asleep, if I have any oh shit, I forgot to do that moments, I can just roll over, write it down, and then I don't have to obsess about it anymore. Alright, folks, make sure you're getting enough sleep. That can mean different things for different people. I'm a 9 hours a night kind of girl. Less than 9 hours and I am a grumpy, hangry bitch. That's reality. I can fight it, I can get stressed out about it, and I can lose, or I can accept it, make better choices for myself, and enjoy my rest. If you want to read up further on the effects of sleep deprivation and weight gain, go to Google Scholar, type in your keywords, and enjoy. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe below, and I am so loving the progress comments that I'm getting down in the comment section below, so please keep those up, guys. I am so stoked. Alright, more to come soon. Until next time, make better choices for yourself and take really good care. And I will briefly mention this wound on my head. I hit myself with my own water bottle yesterday. You probably shouldn't even ask how it happened. And yes, I have noticed that I'm becoming more accident prone. I think it's the universe's way of being like, hey Lily, slow down. And I'm like, what? I can't hear you. Oh.